What's going on, everybody? I hope everybody's having a good holiday. Christmas is a couple days away, so I hope you guys are enjoying some good time with your family, and hopefully you guys get everything that you asked for this year. Yeah, so I hope everybody's having a good holiday. But we're out here doing another video. It's been a couple days since I did the last video. The last video we left off, I was stripping the front suspension off the Rambler. All of the parts are right there in that green bin. So we got to get to those. We got to clean them up. Got to possibly sandblast them. I'm hoping to get one of those maybe like mobile sandblasting things. I was talking about that in the last video. But that's a little bit away. I think this video, we're going to do a little bit of welding on the subframe for the motor mounts and all that. I'll film some of that, hopefully get some good close-ups of that. But first, I really need to clean up a little bit because I left the garage a little bit of a mess. There's like dirt on the floor and all that kind of jazz, but we're gonna do that. Clean up a little bit, and then we'll get set up on the welding table. We'll do some welding, and I don't know how long this video is gonna be, but hopefully we can get a little bit of good footage in there for you guys. At least show some cool welding shots, and maybe we'll talk about that whole setup. Maybe we'll lay out the control arms, and I'll kind of go over that again. But yeah, so anyway, I appreciate everybody, all the new subscribers, all the comments. I mean, it's awesome. I had a guy comment on my last video talking about the front springs, the front coil springs, and he mentioned a company who will make me custom coil springs, which seems to be the route that we're probably gonna have to go with. But I really appreciate that. This is what I'm talking about. I kind of want people to reach out and maybe start like a little bit of a community, and everybody's kind of giving tips and tricks, and we'll learn some stuff as we go. But anyway, I really appreciate all the new subscribers, all the views, all the likes. It's awesome. Thank you so much. But yeah, so let's get going on this, and we'll get some welding done. Hopefully do something cool. So yeah, thanks for checking it out, and let's go. Okay, so we're gonna get to welding on this thing. I cleaned up a little bit. It's not perfect. It's cold out, so I kind of just turned the heater on and cleaned my tools and put them away. But I swept all the dirt and everything into like a little pile. So just me being lazy right now. But anyway, we're gonna get to welding on this thing. I think what we're gonna do is right around here where the motor mounts are gonna connect to the subframe, we're gonna MIG that. And we got to pull these bushings out before we can weld the rest of this together. And I think we're going to take these top parts. But first I got to basically wire wheel all this, get it all cleaned up. And then once I wire wheel it, I can start welding it. And we'll get some shots of that. So yeah, let's do some wire wheeling. Just an FYI, these things kind of suck. I don't have one, but if you can get one that goes in your angle grinder, they work 1,000 times better. It's way faster. You can put a lot more. Basically, this one sucks. Don't use this one. I got a bunch of old clamps, like these C clamps that are all bent. And you know when they get bent, they're like basically you can't use them anymore. I got a bunch of them just sitting in my toolbox or just sitting around the garage. And I don't really know what to do with them. But I bought this welding table, and the welding table's got 16mm holes in it. So what you do is you just cut this bent part off of it. These are fine, but cut this part off of it. And then on the straight, you weld in like a 16mm rod, or maybe something slightly smaller that will fit in here. And then you got clamps that will basically slide into the table, and then the pressure from the clamp on the part will keep the clamp in the table. So I think we're gonna make those in another video. But yeah, so right now I'm just clamping it to the table with regular C-clamps. Okay, we finished basically wire wheeling everything. It's all clean now. Excuse the extremely ugly tacks. I was doing this all on my back and the motor was suspended with the cherry picker, so the tacks are just awful. But anyway, we're gonna clean all that up. We'll get it welded nice. And now I'm gonna clean it all with some non-chlorinated brake clean. Make sure that you guys use non-chlorinated. If you do not, you're basically creating like a super toxic smoke whenever you heat it up, and it's really, really bad for you, and you could kill brain cells and all that kinds of crazy shit. So use non-chlorinated, and yeah, make sure everything is clean when you go to weld it. I'm sure some of you guys, or most of you guys who are watching this know that, but yeah, so get it all clean, then we'll weld it. Disgust! Alright, we just fired the welder up. We're gonna get ready to weld these together. Once they're welded to the subframe, I don't know if you can hear me over the machine, but once they're welded to the subframe, we're gonna push these bushings out, and then we'll take the tops here. I have to push the bushings out because one, I don't want to melt them with any heat, and two, they're like real close to the edge right here, so I want to make sure that, and I'm right here on the front on this one, but I want to make sure that I don't hit the bushing or melt the bushing at all. So I'm going to push those out, we'll press them out or whatever, and then we'll weld those with the TIG. But right now we're going to try and make these up and make them look the best that we can. So I'm going to do that, and this will be like a couple seconds for you, but maybe a few minutes for me. All right, so we're finished up with the welds. They came out okay. They started smoking a little bit. I think there was still some dirt and grime on the inside, but you can see from where the tacks were, how bad the tacks come out when you have to weld over them. But wherever there wasn't tacks, it laid pretty smooth. Not my best, but I'm happy with it. It should work fine. Also, I cleaned them up with the wire wheel just a little bit, try and get some of that smoke off of them and stuff. But you can see how bad it was smoking from the footage that I have. But you also seen the power shut off in the middle of that. So I've had this issue with my house that has been going on since I moved in here. But every single time I weld, I can only weld for like spurts of a little bit of time because it kills the power in the breaker box. It looks like the power out here, I need to open the garage a little bit. Anyway, sorry, I had to open the garage. It's getting fumey in here. Anyway, it looks like the power in the garage, there's only one outlet in here, which super sucks, but it basically can't handle these machines at all. It's also hooked up to everything in my kitchen. So I have everything shut off in the kitchen, but it doesn't matter. It's like every time you run it, it just blows the breaker, which isn't what you want to happen. I mean, I shouldn't be welding continuously with the breaker like that. I could set something on fire, but eventually the plan was to put a little breaker box next to that one and run power for just in here, and I was gonna run 220 and everything, but that's down the line. I don't have the money to do that. But anyway, welding's done on that. We're gonna try and press those bushings out, and then we're gonna TIG weld those. So hopefully we can get in there nice and easy and, you know, whatever. But yeah, so not super happy with the way that came out. I was getting a little bit of like spitting and sputtering on it too, because it just seems like there might be some dirt and grime on the inside, basically where the gap was between the tubing and the subframe. But that's my own fault. I should have just spent a little bit more time cleaning it. I was just kind of rushing, but anyway, it's welded. Let's move on. Let's try and push out the bushings and go from there. Okay, I wanted to show this to you guys just in case I don't have a press. I mean, I don't have a bunch of fancy tools. This is literally all I got. I got my toolbox and, you know, my welders. That's basically all I got. Obviously, I want more tools. Everyone wants more tools, but when you don't have the right tools, this is kind of how you make this happen. Take a C-clamp that's gonna fit. You put a socket underneath it here, and a socket that fits the inside diameter, the sleeve right here. I already did the other side, but this sleeve right here, make sure it fits that, and then all you do is you just tighten this down, and as you tighten it, it'll push that sleeve through, then you can pull it out and pull the bushing out. I mean, not the right way to do it. You're supposed to use like a press. I mean, obviously you could do it this way, and people would argue, why is that not the right way to do it? I agree with you. It's the right way for me to do it, so I'm gonna do it this way. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to show that really quick. We'll also take a gander over here. You can see how like heavy duty this this motor mount is that I'm building here. You can see the thickness of the tubing. Like I said, I bought a suspension bushing, or no, I'm sorry, like I think it was a transmission cross member kit or something offline, and it came with these sleeves that you put the bushing in, and these bushings fit inside of it. You put these in here, and then it has the sleeve as well that goes through the middle. And I'm using that and some tubing that I bought to basically build these motor mounts, and I think they actually came out pretty nice. Again, the welding looks okay. Closer, closer, closer. Focus. Focus. Anyway, it looks okay. I'm not super happy with it. I'm actually a little bummed about it because I know that I weld better than that, so it's tough for me to kind of just leave it like that. I'm honestly thinking about grounding it down and doing a second pass around it just to make myself feel better, but I don't know, it doesn't need it. So anyway, we're gonna just clean it up. I keep saying clean it up, but we're gonna keep on keeping on with this, and we're gonna run the TIG now. I'm actually a lot less confident with TIG than I am with MIG, so this should be interesting. If anything, and I don't like it or I'm like concerned about it, I'll grind it back a little bit and we'll go over it with a MIG pass. But I think it'll be fine because I've been practicing my TIG a lot lately, and I think I've got kind of the hang of it. But this is a little bit out of position for me, so we'll try it anyway and see what happens, and I'll show you guys what's up. All right, guys, we're running a number 8 cup with a gas lens and 3/32 tungsten, and I'm gonna dial in the settings real quick, and then we will get to welding. All right, we just went over it with the first pass on TIG. I'm actually pretty happy with myself right now because, like I said, I have been practicing a lot on the TIG. It's just what kind of welding interests me the most, but I learned on the MIG. And it just shows how much of a diminishing skill welding can be. Just like anything, like I also do jiu-jitsu, and like my coach says all the time, like jiu-jitsu is a diminishing skill. If you don't train, then you just start losing your speed, start losing your timing, and just things don't fit together. And it's kind of the same thing as you can see with welding, because MIG welding is what I learned on, and I'm typically, like, I feel like I'm pretty good at MIG welding for the most part. Like, I might not meet any kind of industry standards or anything, but it looks pretty, and you know, it holds shit together. So, but like, I haven't really been practicing MIG at all, and the last MIG project I had here in the garage was my rear end, and I welded that probably a year ago now or something like that, or a little less than that. And you know, I'm a little rusty with it, and you know, didn't clean as well and just kind of ignored it. And with TIG, I've been practicing, and it kind of looks pretty good. I'm like, come on, focus. Yeah, you can kind of see it's not really focusing very well, but I mean, it laid really nice. There's not too much undercut or anything like that. You know, it looks relatively clean for the most part. So, you know, I'm pretty proud of some of the welds I got on here. I do think I'm going to do a second pass. I don't think it needs a second pass. I honestly just want to keep welding. So I'm probably going to do a second pass on it, then we'll look at it again. I probably won't show the second pass. I mean, I got a lot of sped up footage in here. At least that's the plan in my head. I haven't edited it yet, but I got a lot of sped up footage in here. I'm kind of thinking about going over the whole thing again and just TIG welding it. I'm just having too much fun doing it. So I think I'm going to go again. I turned down the amperage at some point, and I was having kind of a hard time getting a good puddle to start, so I put the amperage back up. So what I think I'm going to do this time is, the reason why I dialed it down, I was getting a little bit of undercut, and it was starting to burn through just a little bit, so I kind of had to back off the pedal. So what I think I'm going to do is to try and keep the pedal a little bit steadier, instead of having to back off of it, I'm going to up the thickness on my filler material, and that'll cool the puddle down while I'm going. So I think that would be my best bet, to kind of keep the same sort of look all the way through it, instead of kind of like a little bit of high heat here and then lower heat here. I think I'm going to try and do that, so I can keep the pedal at a steady spot, keep adding filler material, and that thicker filler material will cool down your puddle enough to kind of keep you, you know, going along. So I'm going to try and keep the amperage there. This is an AHP Alpha TIG 200. They have the 201 now, but this is a 200. So it does do up to 200, but I have it. I don't have 220 in my garage, so I kind of got it dialed down with this little box that they give you to go into a 110 outlet. So it only goes up to about 150-ish. It's set at like 145 right now, so I'm kind of like maxing it out with where it's at. But so I think we're gonna like maybe dial it down to 140. We'll go up a little bit of thickness on the filler material, and we'll see how that looks. And then I'll show you guys basically what it looks like when I'm done. And yeah, so stay tuned, and we'll look at it once I'm done. I'm not going to show this. I'll just speed it up. This will probably take me like an hour. For you, it'll be like a half a second. So anyway, yeah, so I'm going to do that, and we'll come back. I want to show you guys this like fixturing setup I've got going on here. This is what I was talking about earlier, with I need to make these clamps, because the clamps literally bring this welding table to a whole nother level for me. Like, it makes fixturing and welding so much easier. But right now I'm using like machinist strap clamps. Check this out. You can see the way I've got this all set up. I got the strap clamp basically going through the table, and it's bolted down underneath and bolted down on top with the wedge. The whole, basically how you would normally use these strap clamps. Then I got one clamp on the edge, and it should keep it from warping from the most part. I'm gonna try and keep the heat off of it a little bit, but I guess we'll see. I feel like I'm about to drop my camera, so let's just get to it. All right, guys, I got most of the welding done. Actually, I got all of it done. I got the motor mount plates that bolt to the motor done. I got the subframe done. Everything's all welded up. But man, I'm so, like, trying to put on a good face for the camera, but I'm like super frustrated because my breaker panel blows out literally like 17 times while I was trying to weld this. And I mean, I get it. I'm overcharging this breaker. The wiring's probably not meant for this kind of power, this kind of draw, so I get it, but it's just so frustrating, and I really need to get that sorted. But I don't know, I got the welding done, so I guess that's fine for right now, but I'll show you guys what some of it looks like. So got this one done here. I'm actually pretty happy with the result on this one. I tried to grind down some of the really bad tack welds. You can see here in the middle, that's a tack weld, and the ends, those were all tack welds. So I tried to grind it down to get myself a little bit of a prettier weld. But yeah, so it's all welded together. Everything looks good. Everything's all set. These are all done. And we've got the subframe here, which again, some of the welding's okay and some of it's not. I mean, it's all good, but I just like prettier stuff than that. And this one I didn't grind down at all, and I just kind of went right over the tack welds. And you can see like where it's all basically puddled up right here in the corners from the tack welds. But on the inside where there was no big tacks, it looks pretty good. And then you can see that side's just awful from the tack welds. But yeah, maybe next time I'll try and tack weld it with the TIG. But like I said, I kind of had it held up with straps. So the motor was kind of like sitting on like toe straps, or like something you would strap a car down on a trailer. I had it kind of like balancing on those straps, and I had the cherry picker on it at the same time with like a level on it and everything. And I was just trying to get the thing tacked so I could you know, get all that sketchiness out of the way. But it'll do. I mean, I'm not super happy with it, but you know, practice makes perfect, and that's kind of what I'm doing. I've been practicing TIG a lot more than I've been practicing MIG, and it's clear that if you don't practice as much as possible with every kind of process, that you just kind of lose it a little bit. So I just need to practice a little bit more with the MIG, and I need to clean better every single time I weld, because you know that whole cliche, cleanliness is next to godliness or something like that. But anyway, yeah, so I mean, they look good. The welding's all good. It's all done. My strap clamps worked out fine. The welder works great. I mean, if you guys are ever in the market for a TIG welder that doesn't really break the bank, this 8 HP Alpha TIG 200, it's actually a pretty sweet welder. So if you guys really need a welder, I would check that out. They actually have really good prices, and those guys are pretty cool. They like tag me in. Well, they've been like sharing my posts on Instagram and stuff, so it's pretty cool to see that they're like kind of paying attention to people using their machines. But yeah, so the machine's great, just the breaker's what's annoying. Anyway, I'm gonna end this, my battery's dying. Welding's done, we're gonna move on to something else next time, so just keep posted on that. Also, I do have a little bit of a vinyl thing going on. I kind of make little cool stickers, you know, run MIG, run TIG. I've got this run your welder, not your mouth sticker. If you guys ever want any kind of cool stickers or anything, hit me up. Anyway, like, subscribe, comment. I want to hear from you guys. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.